all you wonderful Shadowrun individuals out there that enjoy our lore that I don't know, pipe directly into your brain. That's what we're doing. Building a highway right in there. It's me, So Easy Mode, ready to bring you more of that delicious Six World lore that you've been craving. And I am joined tonight by both my co-hosts. Finally, once again, we're getting the band back together. We have with us this evening Austin. Austin, how are you doing tonight?
It's me, it's ATC. That's a reference out there for the 4 people that will understand it that also watch ECW wrestling. I'm doing good. I'm comfy. I'm ready.
All right.
I'm excited for the information super brainway that we are developing here.
The information super brainway. I like it. That's great. And our other co-host that has been out of action for a little bit. We've been missing him. We have with us none other than the other GM from that other podcast. Excuse me, an absolute Drextorm. We've got Karma. Karma, how are you?
Hey, it's me. I don't have anything witty or to reference because I don't. Warhammer's pretty cool. I've been getting into that. That's what I've been so busy with. That's why I've been skipping recordings, is just so I can play Warhammer. That's it.
Wow, what an addiction.
Yep.
You know,
poor wallet.
I feel like we have to take this time to say that both Austin and I tried to warn you ahead of time.
That is true. In fact, multiple people did. You know, what's funny is I came from a Magic, and I'm still not sure which one cost me more.
Oh my
Magic.
Probably.
It's Magic.
It's probably Magic. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Warhammer gets you with the upfront cost.
True.
And then it becomes more expensive when you decide that you want more armies. So if you're content with the army that you have, then you're going to be in a good state. Magic never stops coming at you.
Very true. Very true. See, Good news is that's why you just play Kill Team. There you go. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars to play the game.
Easy the hack.
Solution. Yeah.
There we go, everybody. I'm glad we got that little impromptu promo for not us out of the way. Yay.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Kill Team.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, that's not how this works.
Tonight's episode is not brought to you by Games Workshop, but it is brought to you by heroin. It's just as expensive and addictive. Why settle for a lesser high?
Tonight's episode brought to you by James Warp Bop.
Yeah.
Good old James Warhammer doing those selfless plugs.
He's my favorite.
He's the best. All right. So tonight's actual topic, the thing that we're going to be talking about, is as opposed to small plastic men. We are going to finally finish out our Germany episode. We did the part 1, which was the whole big, long, boring backstory about how it separated into a bunch of different allied states and became what it is in the Sixth World. And now we're actually going to talk about what it's like there for the people that live there, as opposed to me droning on and giving you a minor history lesson. So, are we all set?
Ooh.
I'll take that as yes. Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Yes, indeed.
Well, we might as well start with the best, which is your everyday life. So you'll be happy to know that the German Alliance has one of the most all-encompassing social safety nets in the Sixth World.
Wow.
How progressive, right?
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. Any member of society that is willing to accept a system identification number,
okay,
which brings with it the necessity of paying taxes and other fees, becomes
not worth it.
Becomes entitled to unemployment benefits, subsidized education, a guaranteed pension, and universal public health care.
Wow. Like Canada.
Kind of like Canada, yes.
Good for them. So
Right.
that include all races? Can ghouls apply for it? Or they count?
It says any member of society that is willing to get a sin. So if they'll issue a sin to a ghoul, then yes, technically.
I was gonna say, I think that's the hiccup there, is can ghouls get sins? Because
I mean, you can apply for citizenship, and if you get a system identification number, you get one. I mean, I would love to see a ghoul get a job in the sixth world and pay its taxes, right? I don't know what they would do.
Flesh disposal. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say he could just work at
clean
a
up the hobo
office.
population.
He could be a mortician's assistant.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
he eats all the bits that fall off while they're preparing the body. He's kind of more like a vacuum, you know. It's like a sentient vacuum. The ghouls are just
vacuum. There we
sentient
go.
Roombas in the sixth world are just ghouls.
They're great for crime scene cleanup.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
There you go.
How's it going in here? You walk in and he's just licking the wall. You've been in here for 2 hours, Johnson. What's going on?
You just gotta be dedicated, you know. You're trying to get the blood
dedicated.
out of the upholstery.
They don't need a shampooer. He is the shampooer.
He is the shampooer. Tasty.
Two lips deep, suck in that microfiber.
God. Oh, bring a towel. That's all I gotta say. The downside is the government is also developing an electronic balloting system that works off of the SIN, effectively disenfranchising the SINless. In the government's view, of course, only criminals and persons of a dubious or untrustworthy nature would ever refuse to have a sin. Yeah.
I mean, they're not wrong.
I mean,
hasn't Shadowrun proven that is generally the case? Is that people of a dubious nature are the ones most inclined to not have a sin?
I mean, I guess you're right. If you just want to lump everybody into one category, I suppose. So what do you get with this? You get your housing, right? Housing has already had, in Germany, they've had scarce living space. Has become even scarcer. Remember all of the disasters that happened?
Yeah.
Right.
These days, even mid-level corporate employees may have to live in a boarding house for up to 3 months after moving to a new job, unless their company owns its own apartment blocks or an arcology.
That sucks.
The housing problem compounds and becomes almost insurmountable for families with children. The housing crunch affects every populated area throughout the German alliance, and any apartments, office buildings, and areas of town left unoccupied become easy targets for house snappers.
House snappers?
Yeah, house snappers.
They're gonna nap your house, bro.
Yeah, people who come in and nap your house.
Like, do they take your entire house, or like?
Yeah, like squatters. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I feel like this is just like extreme squatting.
Yeah.
What is okay? You can't just kick them out, or like
squatters' rights, baby.
Well, what are squatter rights are typically like a couple of months, right? Like, I don't know, man. I don't deal with squatters very often. Personally.
Okay.
Not very adverse in squatter laws, so.
Well, you'll be happy to know that generally the duration of the occupancy is about 5 months, at which point some real estate speculator or real estate agent calls the Bullen, which is the police there, and 30-second item in the news mentions 2 dead and 40 arrests, and then moves on with the news snippet.
Oh, that's not. I mean, they didn't have to kill him, but.
Oh, maybe it was 2 cops.
True.
You never know. Yeah.
Never know.
That's what those nabbers are up to.
Those sneaky nappers. Trouble does not end when people find legitimate housing, whether temporary or permanent. Property owners can and do charge exorbitant rates. Man, this is sounding all too familiar. A 2-room apartment costs a minimum of $250 per month. A 4-room apartment costs $600 and up, and luxury apartments far beyond most people's pockets start at the average price of $1,500 per month. And this is in their currency, not new yen.
Yeah, what's the conversion rate? Because that sounds kind of cheap.
Oh, I need to get.
But I only have new yen to compare it off.
I know.
So,
hang on.
Like if they earn $1 an hour, then it's an issue.
What do you mean? You only got to work 25 hours to make sure that your rent's covered in a 40-hour week.
It is the equivalent of 2 marks is the equivalent to 1 new yen. So those prices basically times them by 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's 500 new yen for rent.
Yes.
For a 2-apartment? For 2-bedroom?
Yeah.
Whew. In this economy?
500 new yen per month.
I'd get 2.
Hey, a boarding house room starts at $300 per month.
There you go.
That's more expensive than a 2-bedroom apartment.
I know. And a hotel room costs between $1,500 to $500, depending on luxury.
Huh.
As you do.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that 500 is for the coffin motels.
No. Coffin motels average 5 per night, so 10 new yen per night for a coffin motel. So
not a bad deal, I guess. So
is
I mean, not. I don't know, man.
I mean, you'd be charged about the same for a boarding house room, right? Per month, be 300. 30 days, 10 per night. 10 times 30 is 300. So yeah. Oh no, it'd be 600 for. So it is a little cheap. It is cheaper to try
half as much.
Yeah, try and rent out a coffin motel. Half as much. I forgot. Half.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Just live in a
Solved.
coffin motel. Problem
Precisely.
solved.
I mean, we get rid of all the houses, right? We just replace them with coffin motels. I mean, housing epidemic gone right there. You know?
What about the people that have families?
What about them?
They can put up walls in between their coffins. I don't know.
That's not how that works.
You're telling me that with a little bit of ingenuity, we can't figure out how to fit a family of 4 in one coffin motel room? Come on, easy. Come on.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
German engineering at its finest, okay?
Well, your other option is the Arco blocks.
They sound cool and will probably be terrible.
The development of Arco blocks will one day help solve the housing shortage. Rising above the smog and acid clouds that blanket certain regions of northern Germany are 2 Arco blocks and the beginnings of a third. By the 2080s, I'm pretty sure the third one is done. These giant habitats cast their shadows on the sites where the cities of Cuxhaven, Williamshaven, and Emden stood before the Great Flood from the Rhine. They are designed to house 3 million people.
It's a lot of people.
Oh, so they're just arcologies, essentially, right?
Essentially. The gigantic structures have foundations averaging 500 by 1,500 meters in width and length, and they rise to heights of more than 1,700 meters.
That's tall. What's that in freedom units? Like 5?
Yeah, it's like 30 feet.
1,700 meters is the equivalent of 5,577 feet for our American listeners.
Yeah, that's all.
For our correct listeners, is what Easy meant to say.
Wow.
Only in the aspect of measuring things in freedom units. Sorry, I want to make a clarification on that statement. Only when it comes to our units of measure.
According to rumor, the lower 200 floors are meant for living space and business purposes, while the upper 110 floors will remain off limits to the public.
I'm sure not for any nefarious
Why?
purposes.
Surely not.
Who's building these, by the way?
Doesn't say.
All right, we'll just blame Saderkrupp. It's probably Saderkrupp.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let me look. Hang on. Give me 1 second. I'll take a look. Built by Proteus AG.
Who the hell is that?
Proteus AG is a AA mega corporation headquartered on the island of Helgoland, a prominent German mega corporation. It conducts research in biotechnology, naval building, undersea drilling, and aerospace.
Biotechnology, you say?
Huh. They sound like the good guys.
So there's definitely not nefarious experimentation happening on those top 110 floors that are inaccessible, right?
Definitely
No.
not.
Okay.
It's probably just storage.
They're probably cool.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Never mind the sea conflict that they get into with Ares in June and July of 2063.
I don't know why anybody bothers to get into the sea conflicts. We all know that it's the domain of Leviathan. Just let them have it. It's foolish.
Well, it ended. Their spat with Ares ended when Ares retaliated with an orbital strike against
Jesus.
the Romo Arco block in July of 2063 via a Thor shot.
Holy shit.
So they were being chill about it. That's good.
Definitely not overreacting
No.
at all.
I mean, like, I don't want to blame the victim, but like, why would they challenge Ares? Like, what's wrong with them? Like, I mean, that's on them, you know? Like,
I mean, you're not wrong.
They engaged in a sea conflict with both sides sinking submarines. So, oops, I don't know. Yeah, an oopsie that was resolved with a Thor shot, and then the corporate court got involved and were like, "Hey, now, you guys play nice."
Hey, now, don't do that again. We'd hate to have to do something about it.
The government chose to use drones and expert system-controlled robots on a wide scale to construct the Arco blocks, and that was done mostly to keep the costs down.
Drone labor out here taking our jibs.
But there isn't officially anything on what the top 110 floors are used for, so
Speculation time.
Darn.
Yeah, I'm still casting my vote for nefarious purposes.
I think it's a spaceship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
Oh, hang on.
I think it's a
All right, hang
spaceship
on.
because they have
Okay.
they work with aerodynamics, right? Right.
Yeah.
They fuck with that. Yeah.
Aerospace.
So I think it's like a giant. I can only imagine it's a pyramid because
Because
archaeology.
of course, yes.
So I imagine that somehow, in case of, well, I don't want to say emergency because I don't think Corp would care that much. Why would they make it a spaceship? All right, I don't have a good reason. I'll think on it.
Maybe
Okay.
they're building them to be self-sustained so they can train people to live in
Low orbit?
No, controlled environments. Like if they were
There you go.
gonna then try to populate like Mars or something or terraform.
Colonize the moon.
Yeah, there you go.
Colonize the moon. Put up our
Or-
secret moon base.
They could also be spaceships because they are, when provoked again by Ares, actually just going to activate them all into orbital rail systems.
Yeah.
Fire back.
They said, huh, you guys had one, huh? That's cute.
We've got 3.
Look at what we've been up to. Launch the roofs.
Launch the roofs. The roof, the roof, the roof is a Thor-shot. Oh man. Food. Right? We want food. Food's important.
Yeah.
Despite the best efforts of Germany's countryside communes and eco-farmers, the production rate of natural, unpolluted foodstuffs remains too low to satisfy the demand. For the time being, natural food only shows up on the tables of the rich.
So it's all soy all the time, baby.
Fuck yeah.
The German alliance produces food from two sources. Are you ready?
Mm.
The forced growth meat and vegetable factories. Factories is in quotations.
I was with you until you put the factories in quotations.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's the top 110 floors. Gotcha.
Or yeah, artificial foods from factories in the truest sense of the word. Meat is the most popular ersat food product.
That's meat TM, my favorite.
With few exceptions, imports are restricted to tropical fruits and soy products. The fast food subsector has become the average German's regular eating place. And Germany's multicultural society offers tremendous variety. Fast food cuisine from the near and far east is currently in the now across the nation, though regular restaurants offer regional cooking as the latest version of modern cuisine. As always, beer, coffee, tea, and wine remain staples of the German diet, though skyrocketing prices for real coffee have revitalized the market for factory-made coffee from roasted grain.
Huh. It's like wheat coffee?
I guess.
Sounds not good.
No, does not sound great. Hey, if you wanted to know, a soy burger in Germany costs 2 new yen.
I mean, that's a deal and a half.
Right?
They're eating good. Not
Eaten
really,
good.
but
Are they? Here's your meat TM. I can only imagine that's like mass produced spam.
We're not legally allowed to call this a hamburger, but it is a product between two buns.
we say hamburger and the ham is in quotations. On to healthcare, because that's the next progression after food, right?
Yeah.
The traditionally high standards of German healthcare helped its people survive the two waves of Vitus and the Euro Wars in much better shape than the rest of Europe. Subsequent years have seen the expansion of the national network of hospitals and practicing specialists to a total of one doctor for every 244 citizens and one hospital bed for every 78 citizens. So, progress.
Yeah. Again.
If you are a SINless or sinner, every resident or visitor to the Allied German states enjoys the right to basic medical care in the case of accident or acute illness.
That's kind of crazy.
Any
Sorry, the
treatment.
SINless get it too?
Yep, SINless get it too.
Wow.
Any treatment beyond that, such as replacement limbs, long-term therapy, and so on, requires integration into the social safety net, which means you have to have a SIN. Or else you have to have private health insurance.
Of course.
Yeah. Public healthcare does not pay for improvements not medically necessary. So they won't pay for your replacement cyberware unless you need it for work.
I mean, that's not a bad deal though. Like comparatively to the rest of the world.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that even under, modern socialized healthcare, I don't think you can use that to cover cosmetic surgery. So
True.
that kind of just feels like a standard.
And the standard in Shadowrun is a win.
Well, response times are good, sort of. Rescue helicopters and an extensive network of emergency medical teams guarantee that medical help will reach the scene of an accident or poisoning within less than half an hour.
Efficiency.
Uh-huh.
Hope it's a slow poison.
Germany's private medical service, Bumona, reaches emergency victims even faster within 15 minutes. So you pay for that extra efficiency. Unfortunately, the socialized system allows profound regional variations to exist for your healthcare. For example, medical care conditions are considered especially poor in the Troll Kingdom.
Rough.
But have they tried not getting sick?
I hear that's the best way. If you want to get around in the Allied German states, the private car remains the average German's favorite way to get about.
So Uber's really big in Germany, is what you're saying.
Well, it says between 98 million citizens own 49 million cars. Best guess. The ALI, the top-notch computerized traffic guidance system, prevents gridlock from setting in nationwide. Also, most city centers ban cars.
Fair.
The national network of the Autobahn and government-maintained roads connects almost all German towns with more than 2,000 inhabitants. So as long as your town has more than 2,000 people, you've got a road.
Which, given the population that we talked about earlier, seems like probably not that hard of a figure to hit.
Well,
for most of them.
I mean, you have to take into account the polluted and destroyed areas from the wars and the meltdowns and the flooding. So
a lot of bikes in those areas is what
had to do some restructure, right, on the infrastructure there. There is public transportation on the train or tramway. However, during rush hour, commuters pack the trains so densely that they keep each other from falling down.
Yikes.
So we're talking like packed in like you expect to see during rush hour in Japan. For medium and long distance travel, the publicly owned Deutsche Bundesbahn railway continues to hold off all private competitors. And though the local rail lines are considered far less comfortable than the long distance trains, they make up for this lack of luxury with their impressive safety record. More proof that print is dead. The electronic media have finally pushed printed newspapers and magazines to the fringes of the market.
Good.
And only the yellowest press and a few nationwide dailies still appear exclusively on paper.
I mean, paper is a precious commodity in the sixth world, so...
Yeah, you can't be using it on things like news, you know? You gotta save it for other things.
More important things, like...
Yeah,
like ads.
Yeah, ads.
Yeah, there you go.
The popularity of the electronic media is exceeded only by SINless recordings.
Wow.
More than 20 million SINless players have been sold within the Allied German states as of the 2050s. So that number has probably gone up as time has gone on. The best-selling sims for your SimSense rigs apparently are on subjects such as hang gliding across the Grand Canyon or other travel programs. Sounds interesting.
You think BTLs are a big issue over there?
I imagine it's probably a growing issue, especially as SimSense grows in popularity.
Especially in the rural, natural disaster,
Right.
disaster-y devastated areas, yeah.
I mean, With sports and leisure, the most prominent leisure activity in the Allied German states is channel surfing.
Yikes.
Most people spend too much time glued to their Tridio. The disgraceful state of housing in all of the Lander has made apartment hunting an endurance sport because so many people spend so many of their free hours searching for a place to live. Membership in sports clubs and other such organizations has fallen dramatically.
When you said channel surfing, I thought you meant like literally surfing through
In the
like
channel?
in the channels, and I was like, I mean, there was a
No.
lot of flooding, to be fair. I'm sure there's
Wow. No, I meant couch surfing. Yeah, just sitting on a
Gotcha.
couch watching the Trid. However, the most average citizens try to make a point of visiting a health club or bodybuilding studio on a daily basis. So they're trying to get those reps in.
Hey, I mean, daily's impressive.
Yeah.
Good for them.
This attention to personal well-being cannot be considered a national obsession. Many companies require their employees to be fit and attractive.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
These companies willingly subsidize health club visits during work hours as long as their employees return to work immaculately dressed and groomed.
Huh. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
well, you go get your reps in on the clock as long as you,
Yeah,
you know,
I guess that sounds nice.
As long as you don't come back smelling like the gym, yeah.
yeah.
Despite the horrific demands placed on individuals' vanishing leisure time, attendance at professional and amateur sporting events has actually increased in recent years. Regional soccer leagues, urban war, combat biking, hoverball, and court maneuvers rank among the most popular spectator events.
It sounds like a sport like lawsuit.
Yeah, I assume that court maneuvers is just like Phoenix, right? But
Yeah,
in
precisely.
real life.
Sounds kind of hype.
I assume it's like corporate mandated sporting events, you know?
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Like court maneuvers. We're gonna do I don't know. The Corp soccer team is gonna be taking on Saderkrupp later. You, and you. Division C reported. You know? I guess that makes some sense.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the big takeaway there is you can subsidize your workout. I don't know what that says about the corporations in Germany, but there you go.
That they only hire hot people.
They want you to be attractive. Oh, you ready to talk fashion now?
Ooh.
The latest wear. The designers in Paris, Milan, and Dusseldorf keep busy by creating a new fashion trend every season. And producers of ready-to-wear fashions slavishly copy each trend, often reproducing each design in a multitude of unique fabrics. In the summer of 2052, German fashion mimicked the clothing style preferred by French aristocrats. The winter of that same year saw the fashionable set dressed in neo-Baroque style with an emphasis on shades of canary, yellow, and pink.
Huh.
So much Crush Velvet.
The dominant styles of 2054 rely on natural colors, a selection that unfortunately includes several quite disgusting shades. We're talking probably like shit browns. Double and triple breasted suits made from fine natural fabrics, usually lined with bulletproof Kevlar, remain a fashion constant for bankers and corporate executives. Suits who fancy themselves a little rebellious in their off hours affect various punk factions, often combining avant-garde hair, jewelry, and makeup styles with Japanese kimonos. Cosmetic operations to change the iris, jewelry implants in the skin, and luminous tattoos are also very popular. You ready to get
Rocking
jewelry
that glow,
implanted?
rocking that glow in the dark tattoo in your kimono nightwear.
Yes. With my implanted necklace.
Doesn't sound comfortable.
It's fashionable.
True. That's really all that matters, you know?
It's not though, because we've already decided that within our modern, society, that implanted jewels and jewelry are in fact not fashionable.
Well, this is the future, Austin.
This is the future.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what? That is a fair distinction. You know what? Pink diamonds in the forehead for everyone then.
There we go. How dare
how
you?
dare
I? So Germany's diverse culture supports many alternative lifestyles. From the urban Joe average, most subcultures seem odd, but not remarkably so. Two particular subcultures in Germany, the low-tech romantics and the jousters, comprise the exotic fringe.
Okay, I like both of these so far.
Most citizens pursue far more mundane interests. So first we'll talk about the low-tech romantics. The creeping growth of urban conglomerations such as the Rhine Megaplex created a backlash in parts of Germany. Whole groups of young people, most espousing left-wing ecological views, left the cities and occupied rural areas unsuited for agro-industrial use. They formed so-called low-tech communes, villages committed to making a living from the production of natural byproducts and using as little modern technology as possible.
So Easy, what you're trying to tell me is that the Amish mafia have worked their way over to Germany as well, and that the tendrils are already spreading.
They're called the low-tech romantics.
The low-tech. I mean, honestly, that's a way better name than Amish.
True.
Decades of population shift into the cities had depopulated entire regions, and so these idealists, dubbed the low-tech romantics, found plenty of empty farms and even whole villages open for house snapping.
They're house snappers too? God.
They're house snappers too.
Sons of
Jeez.
bitches.
I was on their side.
Well, they often did do this with the blessing of the local land government because no one was using them anyway.
All right. I mean,
All right, well, yeah,
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Semantics are important.
Low-tech romantics usually find favor with their neighbors. People willing to reclaim and refurbish abandoned property tend by nature to be consensuous and accepting of social mores. So they're very open and welcoming. Local law enforcement usually watches these groups closely until assured that they intend to be productive members of society.
You gotta watch those shifty Amish, you don't know what they're, getting up to.
Making all these barns and tending these fields.
No, we don't need more quilts, thank you.
Oh boy. Two of the largest and best known communes, I'm gonna butcher these names, are the Harman der Kruster community and the Laben Geschluchter.
Nailed it.
Yep, that was it.
Sure, and the Erzberg Mountains. The Hermann commune takes its name from the Germanic chieftain who defeated 3 Roman legions near the Teutoburg forest. So that's where that comes from.
Good for them.
The second one is a dialectal rendering of the German word for bon vivant.
Ah.
Yes. So basically, the low-tech romantics are a mash between the Amish and hippies.
I'm down with it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Now on to the jousters.
Jousting.
They exist on the furthest fringe of German society. The jouster subculture is growing in popularity. Despite the dangers of their illegal activities, bikers and street gangs first used armed vehicles for turf fights, but the true beginnings of jousting began in villages and small towns left half depopulated by urban migration. In the 2030s, leading automotive corporations began producing cars with heavy weapons mounted on the chassis. Unable to find enough test drivers for new production models, the corps turned to the street gangs, finding many members ready to pick up high pay for a thrill. The corps chose to stage these violent test drives in semi-deserted towns, attracting considerable attention from bored rural youths. Commercial tapes of these test drives turned into mass market hits, and jousting evolved into a popular sport despite the fact that it remained illegal in most of the Allied German states. Eventually, the fast-growing number of jousters exhausted the supply of small towns in which to fight, and they started looking for other opportunities to pursue their violent pastime.
You gotta watch out for those street joust gangs.
Today, jousts exist to suit every taste. So-called stock car races between unarmed vehicles form a part of every Tridio channel's programming, usually slotted with youth programs. The illegal death races between heavily armed and armored cars are shown as well. In these races, only one driver may leave the arena alive, and spectators wage large bets on the survivability of their favorite combatants. Reproduced on tapes, chips, and SimSense, jousts rank among the entertainment industry's top adrenaline boosters. Not surprisingly, rumors are rife that a number of media corporations secretly sponsor the death races.
That just sounds like slander to me.
Slander and lies, I tell you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If jousting was like this version of jousting was like a real thing, I would watch the shit out of that. That sounds super cool.
The death races?
Death races are cool, you know? I think we should start them.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, human sacrifices. Well, no, not sacrifices, you know.
You just mean repurpose death row inmates into forcing them to drive.
Precisely.
I feel like there was a movie about this called
I've seen that movie.
Death Race.
Jason Statham was pretty good in that.
Yeah, Jason Statham again.
I don't know, guys. If it's a movie, it's a good idea. That's what I say.
If it's a movie, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I guess so. Well, jousters turned out to be exactly what I thought they would be, so I'm excited about that, honestly.
Did you think it was going to be like a slang or something?
Yeah, I thought it would. I thought it'd be like some slang for something else. Instead, no, it's just straight jousting.
It's literal jousting.
Literal jousting. And leave it to those rural youths to step up the market.
Those damn rural youths.
Got nothing better to do with their four-wheelers and their mounted machine guns.
And big sticks.
No, it's not like traditional jousting. Weren't you listening? You got heavy weaponry mounted onto your car.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the traditional, the traditionalist league of modern death jousting.
I would imagine that the traditionalist league uses dirt bikes instead of horses.
That sounds pretty cool.
Do we just create a new sport?
Some moral issues, but it's all right.
I would have assumed that they would have just had the hooved cyber legs and they just run at each other really fast with the big sticks.
Ooh. Healthcare won't cover that though, you know?
Yeah, healthcare doesn't cover
Specified.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, but
They should
that's
put
why
that.
you get corporate sponsorship, guys.
Oh, you're so right.
Oh,
That's how professional sports
yeah.
work anyway.
Okay,
Good point.
okay.
Good point.
Well, with all that talk of fringe groups, aren't you excited to go on to our next segment? State security,
Ooh.
right? With the general chaos of Europe, particularly in Germany, there's a demand for efficient external and internal security forces. And for that reason, the government maintains an impressive standing army. Yeah, they can call upon a staggering array of public and private police and intelligence forces. Huh? Huh?
Wait, hang on. I've heard that. Wait, hang on. I've heard this before. Hang on. Wait.
Okay.
Germany has a secret police force? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Whoa, hang on now. We'll get there.
Okay.
Here are the military forces. The following organizations protect the integrity of the Allied German states and or its individual lander from external attack or invasion, and serve when necessary to further German interests throughout the world. Are you ready?
All right.
Mm.
The first one is the Bundeswehr. In accordance with the European Arms Reduction Talks of 2041, it's basically their armed forces exist purely to defend German national territory.
On paper, yes.
Yes, the arms talks imposed a ceiling of 250,000 enlisted personnel for Germany. And so all three branches strongly emphasize defensive weapons and tactics. All German citizens above the age of 18 must serve in the Heer, the Army, Marine, Navy, or Luftwaffe Air Force, or else an approved equivalent social service organization.
I mean, mandatory military service is kind of the norm in a
Yeah.
lot of other regions anyway.
Right,
So
right. Next, you have the Met 2000, one of the largest mercenary organizations in the world.
oh,
Woo.
okay.
The Rapid Action Force Met 2000 compromises a complete military, Army, Navy, and Air Force. Organized as OG, a partly public corporation, Met 2000's several shareholders include the government at 34%, IFMU Corporation at 21%, Rheinmetall at 18%. Oh, other large shareholders include Ares, go figure, at 19%, and then thousands of small shareholders at around 18% collectively. I wonder where they get their weapons from.
Probably Seder Crub.
Met 2000 provides work for thousands of men and women from various countries. Met 2000's Navy is by far the smallest of its three branches, but makes up for its size in the quality of its recruits and material. All Met 2000 soldiers receive exceptional military training, and the organization equips many of its troops with powerful cyberware.
Oh, so it's okay for them to pay for cosmetic cyberware when it's for the military, but not for private citizens.
They're a private military organization of mercenaries, so yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, Met 2000 equipment represents the newest and best in modern military hardware because the Met Charter stipulates that at least half its troops must be at the disposal of the Allied German states government. One of Met 2000's primary barracks lies at the Sox border and in the Northern German Federation. The remaining 50% of troops are for hire.
Just in case you need it.
Yeah.
Right.
You never know.
Yeah.
Bunzerschnitz.
Excuse me?
Grunschnitz.
Translate.
Excuse me? Baking
Bun
powder?
Bunzerschnitz. I think I'm saying that right. I probably not.
No, you're right. Yeah,
Sure. Toward the end of the 20th century, the collapse of the Berlin Wall and the reunification of West and East Germany deprived the then federal border guards of their principal reasons for being, but gave new importance to the guards' secondary role as a federal police force. The creation of the Allied German states reestablished protection of German borders as an important task, but the BGS primary functions as the paramilitary arm of the criminal police and Office for Internal Security. BGS hit teams, known as Grunschdienstgruppen or GSG, battle guerrilla fighters and terrorists, and their skills and cold-blooded efficiency strike fear into criminals even beyond Germany's borders. As Shadowrunners, these are the guys that you do not want to run into. Internal security. These are the police and intelligence agencies that handle domestic law enforcement. The BIS, Office for Internal Security, performs domestic counter-espionage throughout the German alliance. Not surprisingly, the BIS personnel include more than a few hermetic mages who use their talents for surveillance.
Oh, sorry. Shocked. I'm shocked. I'm so surprised.
So you're supposed to have surprise there.
Yep.
The BIS now handles covert surveillance of all megacorps within Germany.
Ooh.
If the BIS must act against a corp, it may call on special agents of the Bundergeschnolz to form a rapid response force. Those BGS guys.
Right.
Yes.
Then you have Argus, which is technically a subsidiary of Met 2000. Argus is a top-notch secret service composed of a mere few hundred agents. This military intelligence service performs espionage and counter-espionage for all Allied German states, nations, and corporate shareholders in MET.
So is Argus like Corpo Police then?
Think of them more like Secret Service.
Oh, okay.
But they are hired out through Met 2000.
Gotcha.
There's private security forces. There's the regular police force. And that varies by lander to lander. Knight Errant is one of the few foreign security services operating in the Allied German states. So you can find Knight Errant in the Allied German states.
But where's Lone Star? That's what I keep waiting for you to talk about.
No Lone Star.
Wow.
Sorry, guys. No Lone Star in the Allied German states.
Never going to Germany.
Well, now that we've talked about what stops crime, how about crime itself?
Well, how can there be any crime? They've got like 17 different police forces.
Crime still abounds. Though Asian gangs such as the Yakuza and Sulper rings run a few operations in the German alliance, the Mafia has by far the largest presence. The Mafia and the government keep an uneasy peace in which the mob stays out of politics and the government turns a blind eye to most of the Mafia's criminal enterprises. Though it is now legal to bribe public servants, the Public Servants Supplementary Earnings Taxation Act of 2044 made it unprofitable for the recipients. So you could legally bribe them, they just had to claim it on their taxes. That's how you end bribing.
There you go, I guess.
I guess it worked.
Yeah, you just got to be upfront about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great because essentially it's not only is bribery legal, but it's also tax deductible.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you that bribery of a public official counts as a business expense. So,
well, yeah, it says such traditional funnels for bribes like the police force's widows and orphans fund are subject to taxation. And
taxing the
individual
orphans now. Jesus.
individual tax brackets are based on all income received regardless of source.
Oh.
Only large corporations can afford to buy whole governments and courts these days, and their payments usually take a different form than the straightforward bribe of the past. It's probably not money, it's favors.
I like how the government's like, look, guys, you can do white collar crime. Just admit it, okay?
we
like,
just
it's
want
cool.
we just want our cut.
We just want our 10%, all right? That's all we're saying.
In a rather, well, hang on before we get there. The mafia still controls petty crime, prostitution, and protection rackets, but currently considers gun running and chip dealing unprofitable.
Well, why would you need gun running when you have the traditionalist jousting gangs out there proving that firearms are
right? Famous
just an
for their
excuse?
famous for their bloody feuds, various branches of the mafia have finally made their peace with one another and now control well-defined territories with remarkably little dispute. The Russian mafia theoretically controls Berlin and most of rural Germany, and the Siberian mafia holds sway in the big sprawls and metroplexes. All mafia recognize this division of power, and so the respective groups need enforce their borders only occasionally. This is the strange turn of events. A single unknown individual has controlled the entire beetle market since 2046. Import, production, and distribution of BTLs in Germany take place under this mysterious master criminal's aegis, and no single team or organization has been able to break his or her hold on the market. The consumer benefits from this situation with guaranteed price levels and chip quality. The government must worry, however, at the thought of harboring within its borders an unknown economic power of this size. Not only does this criminal's financial empire lie beyond their control, but the government cannot prepare a defense against an enemy it cannot identify. So yes, beetles are a problem, but only one person is controlling the entire distribution network of beetles throughout the Allied German states, which is very impressive.
Hey, you know, when you do it right, you only need one person to do it, right?
I guess. Hey, and like they said, you never have to worry about price or quality because they're going to be the same no matter what.
Mm.
This takes us to our street gangs. Almost every city quarter is run by gangs, most organized in strict hierarchies. These gangs control all criminal activities on their turf, from burglary to picking pockets. From rigged bets to assassination, the gangs will do almost anything for the right price. Non-gang members who plan to indulge in criminal activity in any given city quarter would do well to seek permission from the local boss and prepare to give up a substantial share of the profits. Potential criminals who fail to follow the, quote, proper procedure may end up face down in the gutter.
Again, crime is fine. Just make sure that the right people get their cut. That's all you got to do.
Right? Rather than claiming turf and protecting it, motorized street gangs get their fun and make a living by terrorizing residents of ritzy neighborhoods, screaming around town in cars or on motorbikes, pillaging and looting as they go, generally consisting of psychopaths, often metahumans who goblinized late in life and went mad because of it. These gangs rule the streets of the sprawls after nightfall. Anyone unlucky enough to witness a pack of these maniacs cutting a swath through defenseless bystanders, all while howling like bar guests, learns to appreciate the relative safety of the well-protected street gang turf. The, quote, robber knights are a less psychopathic but equally dangerous motorized gang. These heavily armed thieves maintain numerous hideouts along the Autobahn from which they attack trucks and passenger vehicles for cargo, kidnapping victims, and sometimes just for fun.
So it's basically just Fast and the Furious 1, but exclusively on the Autobahn.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. I get behind that.
Yeah.
Also, I was wondering if it was something that we were going to touch on, but the Sixth World Autobahn's got to go crazy, right? Like that's
Yeah.
that's got to be nuts, right?
It is nuts. The robber knights will lure unsuspecting motorists into an ambush. Their tactics include such technical trickery as sending false signals through the traffic guidance system, and sometimes relying on old-fashioned methods such as camouflaging stretches of the Autobahn with fake, inaccurate information boards.
Detour. To crime!
Your exit to crime! They also frequently try to force entry into moving vehicles from other cars and hovercraft. The robber knights will generally give safe passage to anyone who peacefully hands over their property and pays the ransom demand because the gang wants to avoid unnecessary bloodshed for fear of large-scale government crackdown.
Oh, look at them. Good guys.
I mean, at least they'll do that for you, right?
Yeah. Now we're getting more into the opening scene of Serenity type of type of situation.
Yes. Pretty much. We've touched on
it could still be Fast and the Furious 1, you know, they do it for family.
For the family.
It's all for family.
I
could just imagine going to Germany and trying to tell somebody you can drink whatever you want as long as it's a Corona.
Oh my god. I don't think that would go over so well.
And then firmly yet politely be asked to leave.
The door is that way, the way you came, please. I don't think we need to really talk about the German economy, right?
It's good.
Sure.
All right.
Very economic.
A lot of ups and downs.
I guess we can touch on the Rhine Megaplex. That's one of the major sprawls. It has a population of 25 million. It's much the same as other German sprawls in many ways, but it also has many features that make it unique. The northern Rhine consists of the Ruhr area, the Sauerland, Cologne-Bonn urban sprawl, and the lower Rhine area. The main geographical feature of the Rhine sprawl, which most school text and tourist brochures conveniently fail to mention, is the hundreds of industrial waste areas, less colloquially known as dumps. These areas have spawned their own bizarre ecologies that support every misbegotten fragger imaginable. From green war camps to mutant squatters, toxic spirits to the occasional toxic shaman, all of these slags have two things in common. They all know the latest buzz on the ecologies, politics, and criminal activities in the area, and they're all easily pissed off.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, so just don't cross them, right?
That seems to be the running theme for tonight, right?
Yeah, do not cross. There's all different ways that you can get to the Rhine Megaplex: by plane, by rail, by sea, by car, Autobahn network. serves the entire Rhine-Ruhr sprawl and handles most of the traffic within the Plex. And since it's such a big Plex, you have options to get around. Almost every city in the Plex has a small airport which offers flights to other sprawl cities. Helos swarm like locusts between the business towers, corp headquarters, and malls throughout the Plex. So if you don't want to rub shoulders with the street folk, you can get an air copter. About that.
Convenient.
The other thing that makes the Rhine-Ruhr Plex so interesting, they have a subworld.
Ooh, okay.
Not like subs like you are thinking sub sandwiches. I mean sub like subterranean.
Now I'm hungry, but
Some 70,000 orcs, dwarves, and trolls live in a gigantic network of old mine shafts that stretch for hundreds of kilometers below the surface of the Megaplex.
Jesus.
Apart from a small tourist section open to the public, few topsiders venture into this area, known as Subworld. Its inhabitants rarely leave their subterranean habitat. You guys, we've done it. We have found the mines of Moria.
But the trolls dug too deep and too greedily.
Most of the underground economy of the subworld remains hidden, but that doesn't stop God-fearing topsiders from attributing all sorts of criminal enterprises to its inhabitants. No proof supports these accusations, but metahumans have always been convenient scapegoats.
Aren't they always?
Mm-hmm.
What else are they good for?
Wow. So, yeah, there's a whole subterranean world aside from the Rhine-Ruhr Megaplex. The possibilities, you guys. The possibilities.
Eat your heart out, Orc Underground.
Almost every city in the North Rhine-Ruhr has its own theaters, concert halls, and museums. The most famous theater and the Megaplex's most popular cultural attraction is the Korp Alto Theater in Essen. Besides putting up the finest productions in the Rhine-Ruhr, the building is a true architectural masterpiece. So go to the theater, you guys. Every city also has a multitude of sports centers, museums, SimSense theaters, and other entertainment venues. But not even this vast array of options for leisure time has dislodged the Ruhr area's favorite pastime from its place at the top of the list, soccer. Or as they actually call it in Europe, football. But we're calling it soccer to not confuse our American
The real name.
counterparts.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought you said stalker
I also heard
Wow.
soccer, and I was like, I love that game.
as a professional sport. I was like, that's
hype.
That's a type.
that is a choice.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Crime in the Megaplex. You've got the Yakuza in Dusseldorf and the Mafia, who run prostitution rings in most of the Rhine-Ruhr's major cities. Organized crime plays a relatively minor role in the North Ruhr. The Plex's numerous street gangs, however, are another story. Nowhere else in the German alliance are so many violent crimes perpetrated out in the open, and the gang's rule is so complete that they boldly stage an annual tournament in the Rhine-Ruhr. This tournament is actually little more than a gigantic free-for-all with thousands of armed and motorized psychopaths wreaking havoc throughout the streets. Sounds like a good time. The most feared local gangs are the piranhas.
Well, just don't go in the water then. Good night, everybody.
Wow.
All right.
The piranhas are alleged cannibals.
Okay.
I'm back in.
Back in. The other feared gang is the White and Pink Tigers, who prowl the expressways off the Autobahn.
Are they two separate gangs?
Yes,
Of the White Tigers and the Pink Tigers? Or
White and Pink.
so they just couldn't decide?
Yes, they're the White and Pink Tigers.
Okay. Huh.
There's also the so-called robber knights that make the living holding up Autobahn motorists. The Rhine is home to two of the robber knight gangs, the Ritter von Low, Zoom Low, named after an ancient nobleman, and the Pussycats.
I have to imagine. I have to imagine that that's a reference for Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, right? Like it's gotta be, right?
It's gotta. I
gotta be.
So. I don't know. I guess
gangs that specifically target Autobahn robbery. Come on now.
The Ritter control east-west connections, and the Pussycats claim the north-south routes as their territory. There are a number of smaller gangs, each associated with cities or districts of the Plex, round out the Rhine-Ruhr's roster of scuzz boys and thriller chillers.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, the strength and weaponry of these gangs varies widely. Some wield homemade shivs, while others carry light machine guns.
You know, you got to cover all your bases.
Here are the known gangs by city district. In Bochum, you have the Blue Hawks, Killers, and Toxic Zone Maniacs. Or Toxic Zone Maniacs, sorry. In Cologne, you have Orcs. That's the name of the gang, is Orcs. And you guessed it, it's only made of orcs and trolls.
I was gonna say, I wonder who's in that one.
And then the other gang in Cologne is the Silver Stars. It's noted that the Silver Stars are white elves only.
All right.
Taking that supremacy to the next level, I see.
Yep. In Dortmund, you have the Dr. Feelgoods and the Halos.
What do we know on them?
I don't have much. I mean, I could stand to be in a group, a gang called the Dr. Feelgoods. Right?
You say that.
It can't be that bad, right, guys? Right? In Duisburg, we have the Frankensteiners and the Hooligans.
The Hooligans are just a gang of soccer fans.
In Dusseldorf, this sounds so weird. I promise these are two separate gangs, right? In Dusseldorf, you have the Samurai and the Warriors.
I thought that the Warriors were from Coney Island, though.
Not the same Warriors. But you know what? I bet they do come out to play.
I bet. Only if you clink bottles at them.
Clink, clink. In Essen, you have the Avengers, the Hurricanes, and the Fourth Reich.
Oh, there it is. I was waiting. They were somewhere in here.
Everybody feel free to mark your bingo card now.
Oh my god.
I bet they're chill.
I bet they are.
Yeah. What do we know about them, huh? What's their beliefs?
I don't have
I have a feeling that you could probably guess.
I really don't think we need to go into detail. We'll just leave it
easily.
at the name, and you surmise your own thoughts there. In Leverkusen, the last district, you have the gang Acid.
Sick.
Okay, metal.
And the Winter Wolves.
All right, kind of lame.
Winter Wolves are white male humans only.
Of course.
It is speculated that the Winter Wolves may actually be a splinter group of Alamos 20,000. Remember those guys?
I will say that I'm a little surprised that they're a splinter group of Alamos and not a splinter group of uh the other ones, the guys with the nukes. Your favorite.
Oh, the Winter Night.
Are they just called Winter Night?
It is.
Yeah, Winter Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have thought that they would have been a splinter for Winter Night, but
I mean, Winter Wolves, it makes sense, right?
also them
But
being
no.
them being a whites only gang, also a white human only gang, also
Mhm.
makes more sense that they're a splinter group of Alamos 20K.
Not only white human, white male human.
White male, sorry, white male human.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that checks the boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. Good times, you guys. Good times in these neighborhoods here with their gangs.
Yeah.
Hey, say what you will about the piranhas, at least they're non-discriminatory.
They
True.
eat
They'll
everyone.
eat anyone. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Equal opportunity cannibals, guys. Come on. Credit where credit is due, okay?
Happy days for them, right?
I wonder if they accept ghouls, like
Oh yeah. I would think that being cannibals, that they would be pro ghoul, right?
yeah, that makes sense. They probably get along.
I would imagine that they're mostly ghouls.
That is also that's also a probability. They could also be ghouls. Who knows, right?
Right.
Oh boy. So what do we got? There are the awakened lands within the Allied German states. We have the Black Forest Troll Kingdom.
That sounds kind of cool.
Right? Does sound kind of cool. It's the German Alliance's first metahuman state, the Troll Kingdom of the Black Forest. Has become home to nearly half of all German orcs and trolls, where orcs and trolls are welcome with open arms. The king of the Black Forest, Berthold I, is a former citizen of Freiburg who helped found the Troll Kingdom. At 44 years of age, he has reached a remarkable longevity for a troll.
What is the normal age range for a troll?
I thought they retconned that.
They may have retconned it in the later editions, but early on, if you're naturally born troll or orc, you mature faster and have a slightly shorter lifespan than the average human.
Yeah, I think they retconned that in 60, if I remember right.
Of course they would.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Of course they retconned it in
that.
6. Of course they would retcon it in 60.
I'm fairly confident, either 5e or 6e. I'm pretty sure that the aging differences got retconned, but
I bet it was done in 60.
Probably.
Hey, Chummers, just taking a quick moment to say if you are enjoying what you hear, consider coming over to our Discord, where you can hang out with us and other like-minded Shadowrun enthusiasts. The link is in the description. While you're at it, check out our Patreon over at patreon.com/critical_hits. You get early access to episodes of SINless. You get to vote on upcoming art that you want to see in the shows, and you also get full access to Worm Talks, just to name a few things. It's only $5, and that gets you in and helps us keep the lights on and making the content that you enjoy. And now back to the show. All right. Where were we?
Ich bin ein Berliner.
No, we're not. We're not a jelly donut. We're not doing
No.
that again.
Okay.
We're getting to Berlin now. So Berlin is the only successful anarchist city in the Sixth World. I say that even though it falls apart in 2072.
Wow. Good
So at the time, here's basically Berlin at a glance early on, right? Like the 2050s. So getting there, so travel to Berlin, whether from inside Germany or outside, can be an adventure. Tourists planning to visit Berlin should avoid traveling by car, as the roads around and in the city have not seen a repair crew for many years. Adventurous travelers coming to Berlin by automobile often use the historic Interzonenautobahn, though this road resembles a field track more than a highway. You can go by plane. Air travel offers a comfortable and reasonably safe alternative to driving, despite the occasional unexplained crash over Berlin.
Well, you know, it's bound to happen.
You can go by Tiltwing. Anyone willing to pay for a fast, safe, stress-free journey should consider renting a Tiltwing helicopter. Before planning such a trip, however, get landing clearance from one of Berlin's airport authorities. Anyone landing in Berlin outside of the airport stands a good chance of never needing landing clearance again.
Because once they're in Berlin, everything's good, right? That's why?
Sure. Yeah, it's not that you're going to leave your tilt wing and then it gets dismantled while you're off doing whatever you're doing there. You can go by rail. Travelers can reach Berlin by two different trains, Trans-Rapid Express and conventional high-speed rail. An inexpensive alternative to flying, the Trans-Rapid trains fly along so fast they blur the concrete jungle beyond the train windows into a psychedelic maelstrom. So once you're there, right, now you're on arrival. Upon arriving at one of Berlin's 3 airports or the Gatow Trans-Rapid station, foreign visitors will undergo a thorough document check before the Berlin authorities allow them to proceed. Aboard planes and trains, airline personnel and rail crews check entry papers as Allied German state law requires. Anyone entering by Tiltwing cannot get landing clearance unless they hold a green card.
So you can't use a tilt wing if you live within Germany?
Well, you can if you live within because you have the papers and documentation. It's saying like foreigners who wish to enter Berlin need a valid passport or equivalent travel document, such as an entry visa, as is true everywhere else in Germany.
I see. And that's to get specifically into Berlin.
Yeah. However, anarchic Berlin lacks a customs or other authority to check up on foreign visitors. Entry without a guest card is easily accomplished, and once within Berlin, this same lack of government authority particularly encourages people to pitch their green card.
Well, yeah, once you're in, what do you need? What else do you need it for, you know?
Yes, because in fact, not having a green card makes for a safer stay in Berlin.
Really?
The card identifies the bearer as an outsider, whereas a lack of lawful ID lets visitors blend in with Berlin citizens.
I see.
Because it's virtually non-existent, law enforcement cannot regulate travel and entry. Berlin has become a favorite home base for dubious characters who manage to pass through the rest of the Allied German states without a green card. Berlin's U-Bahn, which is their subway network, is the biggest subway in the world. No spot within the city lies more than 200 meters away from a U-Bahn entrance.
That is pretty convenient.
Yeah. The star-shaped U-Bahn network created more than 100 years ago still operates, supplemented by a second network constructed in 2009, 50 meters below the first one. Yep.
And structural integrity is great.
Right? Countless escalators and walkways connect the two U-Bahn systems, which allow travelers to quickly reach any part of the city. Despite the convenience it offers, native Berliners use the U-Bahn less frequently since sightings of Earth spirits within the tunnels became common. City authorities, such as they are, responded to the citizens' fears by posting guard mages on the U-Bahn during rush hour.
Just imagine a subway train like rocketing down, and then the mages, you just see the earth slowly start to form up on the track, and the mages, no, you don't, no, you don't, you get back down there.
But the higher fares charged during magically protected travel times did little to make the trains more attractive.
Well, you still got to compete with
Though
the
the Earth
potential of
spirits,
Earth spirits.
yeah, though the Earth spirits have proved more annoying than dangerous, travelers should beware of gangs and other criminals who claim the tunnels as their territory.
So weirdly enough, the Earth elementals in the subway tunnel are the least concerning thing about taking the subway.
Pretty much. Currency is handled interestingly. Berlin lacks a standard legal tender. Marks and New Yen all circulate throughout the city. Most Berliners accept New Yen reluctantly, and marks only under certain conditions. Rather than using currency, most Berliners favor payment in kind. A no obligations introduction to a third party, information, and other services are all accepted more readily than cash of any kind.
That's pretty funny. The favor system is the
currency of Berlin is the favor
major
system.
currency. That's pretty good.
Berliners still travel by private cars, apparently willing to face always chaotic and frequently life-threatening traffic. Around the turn of the century, street traffic in Berlin approached terminal gridlock. The suspension of all traffic laws during one of Berlin's periodic 21st century upheavals allowed the process of natural selection to lessen the chaos somewhat and prompted the evolution of traffic patterns into their current state. Maneuverable, heavily armed vehicles dominate the city streets.
Why?
That's the way to get around, because you can push other cars out of your way.
Ah! All right, fair enough. APC or bust, I guess.
Yeah. Berlin is run by the Berlin Council. The Berlin Council, Berliner Rat, remains the city's only conventional political body, reduced by the final law to providing a platform for open dialogue between Berlin's various interest groups. To ensure that this political platform does not become a new government, all council functions are redistributed among its members every 6 months. So there's no way it can form a dominant legal government.
Right. Imagine getting elected to political office. They go, all right, and your 6-month timer starts now. Go.
Yes.
Go.
Because anarchist philosophy refuses to acknowledge the council as a permanent organization, it cannot use the trappings of an established government. There's no government security force that surrounds the council's small administrative building or giant Congress center. Nor do the council members get any kind of special treatment. Aside from the Berlin Council, all service organizations in Berlin are privately owned. Every so often, the polyclubs or megacorps try to take covert control of the city services in order to grasp a greater measure of power, but none of these attempts succeed. This all changes in 2072 when a sprawl guerrilla cell called UVX detonated the Surtur nano weapon in an attack, which prompted the corporations to finally take action and end the anarchist rule in Berlin. Corporate forces quickly captured the anarchist ruled part of Berlin with relatively few casualties. After the reunification, Berlin was given a federal government-like city council, and all of the districts were given semi-autonomous powers.
Do they have any more information about what exactly the Surtur nanotech weapon was? Because that thing sounds pretty cool.
Sure. Surtur is a Zeta Impchem developed nanotechnological weapon that was used by Winter Night terrorists during the crash of 2064.
I assumed, given the name.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nanotech weapon that crashes the internet.
It was probably used to target Matrix infrastructure.
Gotcha. Also, what does the infrastructure look like in a anarchistic state?
So about that,
Okay, uh-huh.
you have your fixers. Berlin fixers work freelance. Their capital consists of their personal contacts with innumerable gangs, polyclubs, and corporate managers. A successful fixer personally knows hundreds of important or useful people and uses his own informants to stay in touch with current events.
Mm.
And then you have your deckers. Deckers came into existence in Berlin with the inception of the Matrix. The enormous number of megacorps in Berlin makes the city seem a fool's paradise of data at first glance. A second look reveals the potentially lethal data protection measures made possible in Berlin by the lack of restraining laws against killer ice.
Interesting. Okay.
Given the extraordinary hazards of their profession, Berlin's freelance deckers live secretive lives, hiding their paths into the Matrix with great care. As for law and order, Berlin's approach to law and order is unique among the cities of the world. Crime in Berlin does not exist. Berlin has no laws to break, save for the anarchist proclaimed final law, which states that no individual or organization shall make or enforce generally accepted rules or accumulate significant power.
So the only law is there is no law. And if you try to make a law, then you're breaking the law.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yes.
An interesting system. I'm sure it'll work out for him in the long run.
It's what you wanted for anarchy. Well, it does until
well,
2070.
keep in mind, yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't. It all comes
know.
apart in 2072.
Yes, that was the joke.
Oh, okay, I got it. Oh, so funny. So that is Berlin. Oh, well, there's gangs. Do you want to hear about the gangs in Berlin? There are a lot of them.
Are there any funny ones?
Yeah, any highlights?
Gangs of Berlin. There's well, we'll just start here. There's Jihad B,
Okay.
an outgrowth of a religious sect that anticipates its salvation on the day of reckoning. Members of Jihad B frequently commit acts of violence intended to bring that day about as soon as possible. On night rampages through Berlin, Jihad members commit arson and murder in the name of their religious convictions. How about that? I mean, recently, Jihad B seems less active in its usual pursuits. It appears to have become a more middle-of-the-road radical Muslim gang, usually saddled with the dirty work of unscrupulous Muslim fundamentalists who prefer not to get their hands dirty.
Good for them. They found a purpose.
There's also the Green Bards. The Green Bards, or Grünbarden, formed when a radio station rediscovered and popularized songs by the medieval troubadour Walter von der Vogelveld. These gang members considered themselves modern-day troubadours, courting the city's fair damsels with music.
Okay. All right.
Unrequited love tends to bring out the worst in the gang members.
Ah.
Many a cuckold husband suffers painful injuries for his resistance to the bard's courting of his wife.
Oh no, not the cucks. Oh god. Okay, hang on, wait.
Hang on. The bards have little trouble recruiting new members from the city's youths, especially among pimple-faced, lisping nerds and perverts.
God, it's
Oh,
incels.
the incel gang. It's the Milady gang. Tips green fedora, bro.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Listen, it's not their fault that they leave the maidens moist and wanting, all right? It comes with the territory.
My fair lady.
Oh, man.
Perhaps I can bequeath to you my ring of power. Well, next you'll enjoy this one. It's the Horde.
Ooh.
Among Berlin's most violent gangs, the Horde's membership is limited to large, physically powerful orcs with an unquenchable hatred of anyone unlike them.
That sounds like the Horde.
Yeah, anyone or anything Horde members don't like, they break in half.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Next, they'll bring in trolls and then ghouls. And then inevitably, when cow people are introduced into the sixth world, truly
looking at
will
you,
the Horde,
Sixie. I'm looking at you.
truly will the Horde be formed in earnest.
The Crusaders are fanatical Christians who consider it their duty to send those they define as heretics straight to hell, rather than letting them waste precious oxygen by living out their allotted time on Earth.
Get a new shtick, right? Like, come on.
Tourists should carefully consider their answers to apparently innocent questions asked by any friendly passerby wearing a large red cross on his or her chest.
I mean, I just do that in general, to be fair, so...
The Magnificers.
Please tell me that this is a magician gang.
Active for several years, the all-male Magnificers number about 200 members. These gangers style themselves mages and spend their lives diverting and often shocking passersby with illusions and by conjuring minor spirits, mainly to part onlookers from their wallets.
Stage magician gang, let's go!
And we're imaging.
Oh, an illusion this gang finds particularly funny is maggots crawling from the victim's nose until the mark pays up. They get no relief from the horrible sensation until they pay some new yen.
And now I'm going to make your life disappear, pulls out Ares Predator.
Abraca-click clock.
Abraca bang bang.
Maybe you'd like to ride this Remington 2000.
As you can see, I hold nothing in my hands except your life.
Next up, we've got the Redskins. Okay, just let me get through this. Okay, just
okay, all right.
Let me get through this.
Easy. I believe they're called the Commanders now.
Just first sentence. Just let me get through this, and then we can talk about it. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Redskins, sworn enemies of the Whiteskins, The
Yeah.
Redskins also shave their heads and wear implanted glass skull plates.
What?
Unlike the Whiteskins, they have little interest in politics and only commit acts of violence against the Whiteskins when mistaken for members of that gang.
Ah.
Well, I assume that the implanted dome piece is because then they can't be scalped.
I don't
Ooh, maybe.
know. I don't know. Maybe I don't.
That makes sense. I like that.
I
New
don't.
headcanon for the Redskins?
That's gonna have to be my assumption for a gang called the Redskins. Is there actually a gang called the Whiteskins?
Apparently, yes, there is,
Okay.
and we'll get to them.
Okay.
There is. They're on here. Don't worry, we're getting there. How about the gang Fighters of the Lord?
I mean, that just sounds like the Crusaders with more steps.
I mean, they're called the Steretter Gaudis.
That kind of sounds cool.
Fighters of the Lord, from the Berlin branch of the Christian Knights. Though a more liberal religious gang than the Crusaders, they share the conviction that they must do battle in the service of a higher power. In accordance with this belief, the Fighters of the Lord readily ally with any religious polyclub that requests their help against the godless.
Oh, so what? So they're a merchant religious?
Unlike other religious groups, the Fighters of the Lord shy away from Berlin's infrequent religious wars. They view the various supreme beings of the world's religions as different aspects of the same higher power.
Hmm.
There you go. Austin, this next one you're going to love.
Mm-hmm.
They're called the Surf Turf.
Okay. Okay.
The members of this gang live in the U-Bahn tunnels,
Mm-hmm.
going outside only during rush hours
Mm-hmm.
by implanting suction pads onto their hands and feet.
Yes.
They can cling to the outside of the trains and try to scratch flying lizard eggs, which command a good price on the black market as potency enhancers from the damp tunnel walls without losing their grip.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
The gangers also love to shock the passengers in innovative ways and spend a certain amount of time dodging earth spirits.
That is an oddly specific gang.
Very specific.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
That is
I don't
pretty
know about
dope,
you guys. I've got to go catch my flying lizard eggs today.
I have to meet my egg quota. Otherwise, it'll be a stern talking to for me. I mean, I have to imagine that also, just for my own enjoyment, they all wear like 90s like inline skating and skateboarder clothing apparel while doing this. So,
oh yeah, like of course, why
a
not?
lot of Jankos, a lot of zebra print Zubaz pants going on. Like,
exactly.
yeah, sick. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good one.
And finally, we have the Whiteskins.
Mm-hmm.
I know, this is the one you guys are waiting for. So excited.
Book ending.
Whiteskins, even more radical than the notorious Humanist Poly Club, this gang promotes the notion that a pure Aryan race is meant to inhabit and dominate the entire solar system.
The solar system?
Yes.
Oh.
Well,
yes.
That's a spin we haven't heard yet.
So the Redskins are the good guys.
I guess.
As was always the case, Karma.
as part of their racist agenda, They have developed a complex genetic test that they claim defines the genetic worth of a human being. Because the
Ooh.
Whiteskins have been unable to garner the slightest glimmer of support in anarchist Berlin, they have resorted to furthering their crusade through such drastic means as cordoning off whole residential blocks and forcing everybody caught in their trap to take their test. My God, you guys, they're Scientologists. Take these personality quizzes for us. Those who fail to measure up to the genetic purity of the new Aryans are killed and left to rot in the gutter.
Mm.
To distinguish themselves from so-called lesser mortals, all Whiteskins shave their heads to reveal the glass plates implanted in their skulls.
So they both have glass plates.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's why they're mistaken sometimes, and thus causing the violent outbursts of the Redskins.
I see.
Mm-hmm. You would think if they would just take the time to like tint the glass red, there wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
Well,
yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll give it to them. Intergalactic supremacy again is a new take that we haven't
I haven't heard before.
Yeah, that we haven't gotten to yet. So
yeah, solar system. That's it's pretty lofty goal when they can't even get any traction in Berlin itself.
Well, they're working on it.
Well, how else are they gonna find Xenu if they don't get out to space? Easy.
How indeed.
He's waiting for him. They just gotta get there.
They just gotta get there, you guys.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Also, I will say a ranking system based on a 23andMe test is also a new spin that we haven't seen for a white supremacist group yet in the sixth world. So,
oh my God, that's...
at least they're keeping it fresh? Question mark.
Question mark. Well, I guess I can give you the places of interest in Berlin as well. We don't care about hotels, right?
No.
Place to sleep is place to sleep. We want to go to restaurants and bars. That's where the fun stuff is.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the first one on the list. It's called Gore.
Gore?
Gore. Gore.
Gore.
Wait. Gore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that what the piranhas are based out of?
Dinner at the Gore is an experience that marks one for life. To dine at this unique establishment requires a lot of nerve and plenty of hard cash, meaning you have to have Deutschmark chits. New yen is not welcome at the Gore. It has no menu. You eat what you get. Anyone who fails to clean their plate is taken to the kitchen. Never to return in one piece. Diners at the Gore play Russian roulette with nausea, but should keep eating steadily. To do otherwise can cost you your life. When you find the first ring or brooch in your stew or a pair of hairy orc ears, just keep eating and try not to think about the poisons that collect in body tissue. Do not try to sneak into the Gore, though, or sneak into the Gore through the backyard. You might become part of the goulash, and your eyeballs may end up swimming in someone's drink. Always, always clean your plate.
That's fun.
So it is a cannibal restaurant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right.
there's blurbs that say, attention all readers, the gore does not exist. Repeat, not exist. The whole entry is just some fragger's idea of a sixth joke, followed up by someone saying, "Are you sure?" And the response is, "Dead sure. I've been to that address. It's a dry cleaners run by a nice little family of Turkish orcs."
Well, I guess we'll never know.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe the dry cleaners is just a front.
Whoa. I just can't see why you would go to a restaurant like that. You know? Is it the thrill of
Eating whatever's placed in front of you and not knowing where it comes
maybe
from.
cannibalism?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. That's
Yeah,
not like,
that's exactly what it is.
all right, I don't know. I could just join a gang and that's like a regular activity now. Like, I don't know. That just doesn't seem like a real.
But maybe you don't want to do it on the daily. That's the thing. Maybe
Okay.
maybe you're not committed to the
I mean,
cannibal
there's nothing
lifestyle.
stopping me in Berlin to just, going and cannibalizing someone, like there's no laws. Like I can just go kill someone and cook them up,
Yeah, technically.
I don't know. It just seems like a weird gamble thing.
Well, but that's also part of the fun,
Yeah.
right?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You know,
The risk is part of the excitement.
I'm sure Berliners,
Uh-huh.
Berliners.
Berliners. Oh,
Berliners.
I'm sure they understand. I'm just not from that area. It's probably a culture thing. So.
It's a culture shock thing.
Yeah.
You have H2O as the next restaurant.
What would they serve there?
Proprietor Bernard Becker prepares all the food served in H2O. Once a chemical engineer designing artificial foodstuffs, Becker felt an instant affinity for a much simpler method of creating food that garnered a well-known mage the Nobel Prize for Magic. Within a year of the new technique's appearance, Becker quit his career and opened a restaurant serving pure synth food featuring the extravagant color, taste, and smell of real food. At H2O, dieters can order decadently delicious dishes containing 0 calories. The restaurant does not deliver, but customers can order takeaway meals by phone. These meals have an indefinite shelf life as long as they do not get wet.
But what is the actual, like, what are you consuming?
Their favorite house specialty is sodium bisylclinate B14 on green agar-agar. Complemented perfectly by a pleasant PEG 5000.
Those are words.
Yeah. You said things.
I did say things, yes. It's some kind of synth food that's masked over by illusion magic, basically.
Okay.
Yes, to make it seem more appealing than it actually probably looks.
But hey, 0 calories.
0 calories.
Can't argue with that.
Enjoy your plastics. There's, oh boy, Medicus. Medicus gives the students of Berlin University's Magico Medical Facility the chance to make a few bucks on the side. Instead of being shown to a table, guests in this restaurant lay down on a stretcher and the, quote, waiters connect them to an IV, inserting the tube straight into the portal vein to allow direct access to the liver. Each member of the constantly changing staff specializes in an intravenous solution, and the guests take their chances. The students use the guests as experimental subjects for their particular specialty, and so every meal is unique. After a quote-unquote meal at the Medicus, some diners can no longer tell up from down because they know they can never again experience the same hallucinogenic flash.
You gotta chase that dining dragon somehow.
Some customers fling themselves in front of a trans rapid when their meal begins to wear off.
Oh my
Lucky customers get aphrodisiacs, weak hallucinogens, and brain feeders. The unlucky consume head crashers, paralytic agents, and disintegrators.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Well, that's the last of the unique restaurants.
Hmm.
How about bars and pubs? This can only go well, right? You have Farside 5, known for watery drinks and salty food. Farside 5 is only worth a visit to hear the confessions of the Mutates Anonymous who meet here every other night. Poor unfortunates born with a mixed genetic heritage. Members include elves with troll beards, dwarves with orc hands, and every other imaginable combination. So it's a mutie bar.
Pretty chill.
Yeah, fun.
I guess so. There's the Jehovah. Jehovah is used to gather followers who see the Vitus catastrophe as evidence of the divine. According to their beliefs, the god Rashnu views the world as a giant infected bacteria culture that has reached the end of its existence. The Vitus plague was the great dying caused by his infinite power and will. Believing that the end of the world is imminent, the Jehovah offers the best beer in the city for free. As they want to use up the good brew before they progress into the next life and has no need to make money. However, only those subscribing to the, quote, pure faith may enter the bar. So there you go. You just have to convert religions if you want free beer.
Hey, worth it.
Yeah, people have done it for less.
I guess. There's the Meld Inn, a species-tolerant bar. Meld Inn is the current meeting place of choice for polyclubs dedicated to improving relations between humans and metahumans. However, that does tend to make the bar a target for humanist polyclubs. Go figure.
Yeah.
Well, as we've learned, there are quite a few of them in Germany. So.
Yes. There's a bar called Moving. Yeah, Moving deserves its name. The same place turns up in a different location every night. When asked how he manages to move an entire bar every night, owner K. Figby only lifts his eyebrows and grins. Oddly enough, Moving is the preferred bar of Berlin's upper crust. To see and be seen here is the only thing that counts. Figby serves top-notch alcoholic ingredients, only available on this side of the galactic core. And drinks are priced accordingly. Anyone lucky enough to find Moving should seize the day, buy a drink, and damn the cost. You may not be so lucky again.
I was kind of expecting it to be like a restaurant that was on like a train or something.
Oh, that could be cool.
But a magical bar that teleports every night is also pretty cool. I'll take
it. I'll take that one. There's One Stone. One Stone took its name from a famous scientist who supposedly said, "You don't have to know everything, you just have to know where to look it up." One Stone meets this criteria as the leading lights of Berlin's intelligentsia drop in frequently at this cafe. Interested tourists often rub elbows with Vitus researchers, Nobel Prize-winning mages, and other intellectual VIPs. So there you go.
It's the nerd bar.
It's the nerd bar.
Okay.
Next on the list, we've got Shrapnel. This insider bar offers extraordinary drinks and esoteric food at a bargain basement price. The exact definition of esoteric food changes daily. Prospective noshers should be cautious. Though located in a settled area, getting into Shrapnel can be difficult. The management sowed a minefield around the premises. A
As
warped
you do.
wooden plank marks the only safe pass through this no man's land. Whenever government officials come around or a brawl explodes inside, bouncers remove the plank.
And it's everybody for themselves.
Yeah, until they put it back, bar patrons enter and leave at their own risk. There's a nightclub in Berlin called Helter Skelter. Yep. Frequent patrons of Helter Skelter need either top quality dampers or enough cash to afford a fresh pair of cyber ears every 2 weeks.
What?
It's the preferred hangout of deathcore thrashers.
Ah, I see.
The premises are supported by steel beams that keep the bass vibrations from ripping the place apart.
Jesus.
That about does it for Berlin. Oh, there is a U-Bahn subway bar called U-Bahn.
On brand.
On brand. They have 2 subway car simulators that let newbies train for subway surfing without risking their lives.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that's nice.
Okay. You know what? As a bar, as previously mentioned, bar attached to some type of train system, I'll take it.
Okay,
I'll
there
take
you
it.
go. There you go. Now you know it exists. Oh, do I mention that? I don't know if I should.
Ooh, sounds like you should.
It's a place of interest or a tourist attraction.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's called the Slippery.
The Slippery?
Uh-huh.
I can make a joke. I'm not going to.
Sure. The Slippery grew out of Sexyland, one of Berlin's biggest peep shows and sex shops. Its doors open for 1 hour every evening, then close until early the next morning. In the interim, this establishment offers the most decadent sex show on Earth, including banned SimSense screenings, live orgies, and a variety of shows starring dwarves, elves, orcs, and other metahumans. There it is, everybody. We've hit Shadowrun After Dark.
Okay.
Huh? Do you get a free poncho when you go in at least? Or do you have to bring your own?
Free t-shirt with coupon.
Easy, that might be one of my favorite references that you've ever made on this show.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I feel like it was necessary for this, right?
Der Club van der Sex.
Did you say Gespluken für Tarkenpink?
Oh, so good.
Oh boy.
Also, can we take a second to just everybody just, for like a solid 10 seconds now. Just consider the implications of what a brothel orgy sex club also has in regards to existing inside of an anarchistic state.
Yeah.
So I don't think I want to go to that place, even if I get a free t-shirt. That might be a little too hardcore for me. I gotta be honest.
There's a little bit more if you want me to keep going.
Oh boy.
In exchange for enough marks, a visitor with a taste for adventure
I don't like the way you said that.
can enjoy the fully synthetic miracle patterns of the famous mage Brand You Satisfied. Or Brand You. Satisfied customers wear the Brand's creations, make an encounter with any living woman, man, orc, or other race pale by comparison. Those who run out of money before the Slippery opens its doors again can rent themselves out to the management, but must then endure other customers' wildest desires.
Hey man, $5 is $5.
Many wealthy citizens visit again and again, specifically to enjoy this particular rule from both sides.
Oh man.
Jesus.
Hey.
There you go, guys. There you go.
There's a reason that it's called S and M and not S or M.
Oh my god.
Dante's ain't shit, dude.
Because you have to live in a society. That's why. Austin. Dante's is living in a society. Meanwhile, the slippery, there are no rules.
Again, the only law is no law, and it's against the law to make law.
that ain't great.
That is correct. You are correct, sir.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Woo! What a great spot. I don't think that can be topped.
Or bottomed.
I walked right into that one, huh?
You walk into a lot of stuff at the slippery.
I don't want to.
Come on, softballs. It's softballs all night now. Let's go. Just keep on feeding them, baby.
Yeah, softballs. That's what they say at the slippery.
Oh, never got to worry about that at the slippery. That gets you kicked out. Oh, man. Karma, anything you want to add?
Anything here?
No, you guys got
it. Like the perfect time.
Yeah, no, I don't. Nope.
Okay. Oh God.
So Germany, everybody.
So Germany, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
What a place. What a
bit of a slippery slope.
There it is. There it is.
Got one in.
Good job. Also, saying at the slippery, got one in.
Only one.
Only one.
Slow night.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all it takes.
Rookie numbers.
Rookie numbers.
Yeah.
Easy. I'm gonna need you to start. Easy. I'm gonna need you to start pumping those numbers, buddy.
Oh my god. You're gonna need you to get their numbers out. Those numbers are rookie numbers. Oh, bleh.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times, guys. Good times.
Yeah, super cool.
Final check here. I'm just going through. I don't think there are any specifically unique para animals that are in Germany that we haven't touched on already. In Europe specifically. They do apparently have saber-toothed cats.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Native to the Bavarian forest and surrounding hill country. Sounds oof.
Yeah, nothing good happens in rural Germany. Is my takeaway.
Yeah. Is that what you got?
Saber-toothed cats, Amish mafia. It's a wild land out there, man.
Amish mafia. You can't forget those low-tech what were they? Low-tech romantics.
Yeah, the low-tech romantics.
Low-tech romance.
I don't think you'll find any of that at the slippery.
I think you'll find everything you're looking for at the slippery and more. Is what I'm getting at. Just saying. Just saying, guys. Well, that I think you know what, I think that's going to end it for German.
Alright.
I think we've
It's a good spot. It's a good
we've covered a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also a phrase commonly used at the Slippery.
Oh my God. I can't. Now that's just going to be a saying that happens on the show, right? Every time
definitely.
every time we get into Shadowrun After Dark, now it's going to be like, yeah, just like at the Slippery.
It's always good to have a point of reference.
You need it. You clearly need it. Oh boy. All right. Final thoughts. Anything from you guys? What was your favorite part? What'd you like?
Well, we know Carmen's favorite part.
Besides the goddamn Slippery.
I think it's pretty dope. Like there's a lot of really interesting things. There's a lot of really cool potential for different settings to use for
Yeah.
Shadowrunning. Like not
Mhm.
even necessarily needing to be in any of the major cities. Like the entire underground society in and of itself could be like a cool setting to do a specifically meta based
Mhm.
Shadowrun type of deal. But yeah, it's dope. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you could use, and being the basis for Saterkrupp and having a megacorp that's also based out of the country helps for setting and flavor
Yeah.
to kind of just sprinkle in whatever you need megacorp wise. So
Mhm.
dope. It's a cool place. I like it.
My only spite with it is I really liked how Berlin was like until what 2072. Berlin
2072.
was, you know, that the only like anarchist place, and then it's just not anymore. Just like I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like why would you do that? Right? What bad storytelling? Like why would you not keep it that way for the specific purpose of having that like a place to tell those kind of stories?
Well, if we
Sure. Commit to the bit.
if we track our timelines, when we
Mhm.
get into the early 2070s, I believe is when we start hitting 5th edition, and you know who was in charge for
Uh-huh.
5th edition.
Ah.
We don't like to
Ah.
name names over here, but if you know, you know.
That adds up, actually. Never mind. This actually follows the track record.
Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say probably my one gripe against Germany though, as a setting with what we've discussed tonight,
Uh-huh.
maybe like 3 too many white supremacy gangs.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Like there's a lot. There's a lot.
There's even a white supremacy gang that is just a mercenary group for other white supremacy gangs. Like, I mean, come on, guys. Like...
There's a white supremacy gang that's elves only, man. Like Jesus, dude.
Yeah, white elves
So,
only.
that would be, I would say, my main gripe. Maybe a
Mhm.
little
Fair.
too many white supremacy gangs.
Yeah.
Let us not forget the Green Bards.
Oh, I will never forget the Green
Those
Bards.
are a highlight right there.
Yeah,
Highlight.
that was the upside. Yeah, we gotta have upside. And the Green Bards were, as it were, a fine feather in the cap.
The lady.
My lord, we don't discriminate around
we
here.
don't discriminate. Ma orc. You guys, definitely let us know what your favorite part of the discussion was for this evening. We hopefully brought everything back together. There's still some extra information out there for Germany that you could look into that gives you a little bit more in-depth stuff. I just didn't want to get too much into the weeds. It's already in 2 parts. I don't want to take it to a third. I feel like 2 is long enough. So
Also,
that's there for you.
a phrase used at the Slippery.
Oh my God. This is now going to be a thing going forward for the rest of the episodes that we do for Shadowrunnin on Empty. Somehow we will come back and constantly reference, and also at the Slippery. It's now just going to happen, and
Listen,
to accept it.
Easy, we have to coin our own "that's what she said," okay? And this is it. This is
it.
how it happens.
This is how it happens. You guys, let us know what you think. I would say come in and comment about the slippery, but I'm afraid I don't want to bring that kind of energy. That's a little much. Let's not do that. But do come and talk to us about what you think about Germany and the things that are going on. Obviously, Loftweir, he's a shifty guy. Just saying. Let us know what you think. Come hang out with us. Come talk with us. We're always down to talk Shadowrun stuff or ideas or things that you think would be interesting that is going on in Germany. Sadly, the Anarchist city fell. Maybe it'll make a comeback. I don't know. I think it could.
Yeah, maybe.
It should have at least one Anarchist city in all of the Sixth World, right?
Yeah, you think.
Right? Yeah.
Well, it'll just take like one more natural disaster. What's that for Germany at this point?
At this point, yes.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys for hanging out with us for this long. I super appreciate it. I hope you guys have enjoyed everything that we have piped directly into your lore superhighway. Another term that we're coining here. We're doing that. We're doing it. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. And you guys, you know it. Here it comes. As always, we will catch you on the next one.
The Topps Company Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sound, audio, video, and/or any proprietary materials used in connection with the game Shadowrun. The Topps Company Inc. has granted permission to Critical Hits to use such names, logos, artwork, photographs, sound, audio, video, and/or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with Critical Hits in any official capacity whatsoever.